How's it going, everyone? My name is Will Nardi with Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I am in the line to get into Mike Pence, which is insane, as you can see. But just while I was in the line, I ran into Steve Ashana, who is with, you want to say the name of your company?
Yeah, I'm with the Demand for Action. We're an advocacy organization that advocates on behalf of Christians in the Middle East.
So I just thought that was really interesting, because as a Christian, this is obviously a big issue for me. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, so our organization was founded in 2014. It was founded in response to the ISIS invasion of Mosul and the Nineveh Plains, which is where the majority of Christians in Iraq live. So we have been advocating on getting support, humanitarian aid to those communities, support for local Christian security forces, as well as immigration policy, and creating a safe area in Iraq and Syria where our people can live, and have some sort of self-governance.
Absolutely, and I definitely see, because a lot of people don't understand that Christians are some of the most persecuted people in the world, especially in the Middle East, because it can be a very dangerous area to be a Christian with ISIS forces and terrorist organizations that are against the Christians. But that's something that I feel like has really gone unreported in the media, especially with more liberal news outlets. They don't bring it up. But what kind of progress do you think that you've been seeing with your organization?
So we've passed several pieces of legislation, including an NDAA amendment, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, that opened up funding for Christian security forces. We've been good. One of the things we do is procure a lot of media attention to our issue. We passed the genocide resolution that recognized the plight of Christians in Iraq and Syria as genocide. That passed 393 to 0 in the House, so it passed unanimously, as well as the Senate, and then the State Department, the Obama administration, did reluctantly but eventually recognize our plight as genocide.
That's incredible, and yeah, just like you said, reluctantly. That's the biggest issue, is that, we're going to talk about the Armenian genocide or anything else, and not to downplay them, but the fact is that we have one of the biggest humanitarian crises on our hands with religious freedom in other parts of the world, and I feel like just no one really has heard about it, and now that we finally recognize it for what it is, which is a genocide, I think it's definitely a step, at least in addressing the problem and starting to go forward with it.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to issues like this, there's always a reluctance, particularly on the left. There's this sort of concept that we don't want to be seen as crusaders, and however, slowly but surely they've come along, and the key issue for us is getting the sort of short-term, midterm, and long-term solutions in place. And so, it's one of those things that people don't always know. A lot of people don't even know there are Christians in the Middle East.
I know.
And, so part of our job at a Demand for Action is raising awareness of that, doing media, getting our issues into the public sphere, getting members of Congress on board with it. And so far, I feel like we've done a pretty good job. Obviously, we have a long way to go in actually finding solutions. But we're hopeful with the new administration that President Trump's going to live up to the promise that he made to our people, that he would protect Christians in the Middle East and prioritize us. So we're here with our friends and colleagues, and just keeping the issue on the forefront.
Yeah, and that, just like you were saying earlier, a lot of people don't realize that there's Christians in the Middle East, and there's not a lot of people who really pay attention to the issue because it hasn't been recognized. But from my understanding, if I'm wrong, just as though you're getting so many Christians persecuted, you're also getting a lot of new Christians saved every single day in the Middle East. Is that right?
Being saved, you mean physically saved, or as in people converting?
Oh, converting to Christ.
There is a little bit of that. I think what's more remarkable than anything is the extent to which people stand by their faith.
Yeah.
There were in Syria, in Fabur, we had 225 Assyrian Christians who were kidnapped. 3 of them were executed, and the last thing they said before they were executed was, "I am an Assyrian Christian." And but when given the option to convert or die, everyone is choosing to die. They refuse to renounce their faith.
Amen.
And I think that's that says a lot about about our faith and it says a lot about the strength of the people who are living in that region.
That's just totally inspiring to hear. It's so sad that this is happening in the region, and we really need to start taking more action in this area. But just to see the strength of these Christians who are willing just to be Christians in these areas, and then to get involved and to really to stand by their feet to death, like. I wish more people would see that and understand it.
Well, that was the example that Christ set, right? Particularly in the Middle East, which is the birthplace of Christianity, their faith is strong, and their faith guides them, and it keeps us going. So, I'm moved by that. I'm constantly moved by the fact that people are so brave when they can so easily have a way out, right? Converting. It's so easy to take that route, but they choose to die by their faith, rather than live by anything, by a false faith. So.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
Thank you so much.
In the best of your endeavors.